Hello everybody, this is a quick update on some changes that we made on how we're going to be recording our EMS training. Currently, or the way we've been doing it for a while, is that the only things that were reflected in your EMT or paramedic credential that we use for recertification were only things that were built or trainings that were provided to you by Poudre Fire Authority. So we changed the way that we're going to log our EMS training so that every EMS training that you do is reflected into your credential. So that includes EMS training that you do on your own. So there's just a few more steps that we have to do to make this possible. And this video is to show you the steps that you need to take to log that EMS training. So on your home screen, if you do an EMS training on your own, that's not sanctioned, not put on by Poudre Fire Authority, you'll go down to record completions like you normally do. And then you can see that at the top is our typical list of our generic training documentation forms. We created a new category, and all you need to do is just open up this Show Advanced Options, go over here to select the category, and you're going to select the EMS training documentation forms. And then when you pull that up, it's just the forms that relate to EMS. And what we did, there's very few training subjects within the EMT certification as well as the paramedic. And so we basically made a single form for each of the subjects. What we were finding is that there was duplication of hours if we were trying to put a lot of different training subjects into one form. And so basically there's a form for each subject that relates to either EMT or paramedic. There are two categories of training subjects that relate to only paramedics. So folks that are paramedics, be aware of this and understand the difference, as well as folks that are EMTs, because you can see we have one airway assessment that's strictly just for EMT, and then this airway, breathing, and cardiology is strictly for paramedics. So if you're an EMT and you do airway training, you'll fill out this form. If you do any type of airway training and you want to reflect as a paramedic, then you'll fill out this form. And so if you do an hour's worth of training, and let's say you do half an hour of medical and half an hour of trauma, you'll have to come in and you'll have to fill out the medical training form and do that for in half an hour, and then fill out a separate form for the trauma. And this is the only way that we're going to capture accurate training records. So it's not too bad. I'll walk you through the process just one more time. If we go back home and I want to enter in my EMS training, I go to record completions. And instead of just picking them from down here, and you can see that we took out the generic EMS training documentation form that we had down here, you'll go and click on Show Advanced Options. You'll narrow it down by category, and the category that you're going to be looking for is EMS training documentation forms, and then that narrows down the list for you. And so let's say I did an hour's worth of patient assessment, so I'll pick the patient assessment form, and then basically all I do is go in there and put in the day that I did it, the hours that I spent, if I took an outside class or there was an instructor, put their name, and then the location of where the class was taken, and that is it. So the good thing about this is that any EMS training that you do on your own will now be reflected in your EMT or paramedic credential. If you have any questions about this, feel free to contact myself, Amy Maddox, or Chief Waters.